gift? Is this her purse? We have no idea what this is. Is she smoking a pipe or is she sticking a stick up her nose? It's really hard to tell what we are looking at when we look at this. And see how she almost looks like she's got a cute sense of humor. He is dead serious, as you can plainly see. But look at the background. We know that is a setup. Okay, let's look at the next thing. Here we have the tintype again. And as I said, this is the largest tintype I've ever seen in my
Is there
life.
a time period for tintypes?
Yes, that's a pre-1855, 1860. However, let me say this, that once in a while, you're going to find that these circuses and carnivals would have somebody that was taking pictures, and for a short period of time, it was the tintype that was being made, so it might run a little bit longer even though it was outdated at the time. I want you to see this because as far as I'm concerned, it's one of the most precious things that you could ever get your hands on. Here it is. Open it up, honey. This shows you what the inside is. You have a couple of these? That is just incredible. This is from the Civil War time period, and it is just awesome. You think plastic is a current thing, but no, it's been around for a long time. But I want to tell you that behind this picture, there is a note. I took it apart to see, and there was. And let me read you what the note says. It says, look at how small the writing is, how much there is. I send this as it may be the last that I can do. I wish I could hold you and the children, but it would only make me feel bad. If I live to get back, I shall see you again. If I don't, then it wouldn't do me any good. Your affectionate husband, Ambrose Clark. Do you think she wouldn't have gotten the message if it was just Ambrose? Ambrose Clark. Thank goodness he put his name there so we could identify him. But there are some of these around, and they are so precious. And I will, I don't have them with me, but you'll find a lot of them that are only half here. The covers are gone, and the picture might still be available. Okay, next. These are called carte de visite, and they are these two, and they are people would have these. This is a little tintype, and these little tintypes were only about an inch or inch and a half, and they cost a penny. They were called a penny picture. And then they had these, the photographer would have these things available so that you could take these little penny pictures, put them in there, and then when you would go visit your friends, you could give them your calling card. It's a carte de visite. Okay, next. So you will have that. This is what happened after Daguerre, or whatever his whole name was, invented the daguerreotype. He gave up on it, but the next year, Paul Goddard and whomever is the other guy, completely slipped my mind, but this is the first face that was ever photographed, and they put it in this frame. They went to the Society for the Preservation of Good Things in Philadelphia, and they gave it to him and said, we've got this process, we just want you to know that it's available, and they didn't think it would work, and they put it back in the box in the back of the room. And about in 1985 or somewhere in there, the guys suddenly thought, I wonder if they still have it, because the society is still there. Now it's a historical museum. But he went there and asked if they would check, and sure enough, they found it.
Wow.
They found this very first picture. Okay, enough nonsense, let's get on with it. This is my family's first picture. This is my grandmother, my great-great-grandmother, who was born about 1802, 1804, somewhere in there. She died in 1842, and this is her picture. We have a photographer in the family, and look what he did to it. Is that gorgeous? That's the picture that she had taken then. The family was getting ready to come to America. She died, and they came without her and left her behind in England. Okay, let me show you the next picture. Who do you think this is? If she was born in 1804, who do you think this might be? It's actually her mother. And her mother was born like in 1785 or whatever, 80. And she lived long enough because photography became very common by 1845, and she lived long enough to do that. I want to show you a couple of things that have come into my possession in the last 10 days. Here is a picture. This man's name is Nathan Skinner, who was born November 20th in 1768, died in December 21st of 1846. So he lived just long enough to have his picture taken. And on the back side of it is his wife. And her name is Hannah, whoops-a-daisy Hannah Lawton. And she's his first wife, and she was born June 9th in 1769. Now the next line on this says that she died in February 8th of 1821. But as I did research on the family, I found out that he married Phoebe on that date, and so that she was dead by this date because he had already married Phoebe by the time this date came along. So she died pre-1821. My point, don't believe everything you see on pictures because they're not necessarily the facts. Here's another one. I just want to show you this darling thing. What do you think this is? It's the little cardboard in the back of a picture from somewhere. And on here it says this is Frank Skinner. This is Nathan's grandson. And over here it says that his mother's name is Ida Amanda Billings, and her father was William A. Billings. I wish we knew what this was, but when this came to me, that was all. This is all that they said. They couldn't throw it away. It was just nothing to them, but it's nothing to me, except it's too precious to throw away. So anyway, the point that I wanted to make was here was Nathan Skinner, who was born in 69, whatever, and he lived long enough. So when we think of photography being invented in the 1840s, we think that we're going to look from then on. Truth is, lots of people that were born in the late 1700s had their pictures taken, so don't give up looking for those kinds of pictures as well. Okay, next. This is going to be really fast. Ladies first. Goody's Lady Book this one is printed in 1848. It is a French book. It came out every single year, and when it did, it encompassed the whole world, so that women were looking at new fashion every single day. So they wanted to have the latest thing. Sometimes they wore them straight without hoops, and sometimes they had hoops in them, or multi-petticoats. But this is just shows you that point. You can tell a lot by this, and we're not even going to have time today to talk about this. It's too bad you don't have more than that little tidbit. Okay, next. So what we're going to look at is this. First thing I want you to notice is this classic chair. I call it the chair. I have no idea when it first appeared nor when it was last used, but I will tell you that the chair is here to stay. This is very early on. You can look in the pictures that you have here. The biggest key at this point is the hairstyle. So make sure that you study the hairstyle when you're looking at your pictures and determine in the time period. Let me back up for just a minute. I want to talk to you just about a couple of basic things. When you have pictures come into your family, almost always you can say, this is the Jones family and this was the Smiths. You can tell kind of generally. That doesn't mean that that's true, but you can kind of divide up mom's side of the family from dad's side of the family based on those pictures. That's your first clue, so never get them commingled. Keep them separated as much as possible, because just knowing which side of the family they come from is going to be one of the biggest clues you've got. Okay, now let's move on. Next. When we look at this, what do we see? This could be a wedding picture, but it's more than likely that it's an anniversary picture, and probably it's the 25th anniversary. They look old, but that's just the time period in which they lived. Not many of those days lived to have their golden wedding day. Okay, next. Another big clue that you're going to want to keep your eye on is this hairstyle. or the hairstyle. Can you see the difference between the first little girl with her hair
Yeah.
really tight and this girl with herself all fluffy? This is really right around 1900 to 1910. This is classic for that time period, as well as her top. Okay, next. Okay, this one you will look in on your pictures there. You can see the time element when we come to plaids or some kind of a print. And this one is classic into that time period. So examine your paper there so you can look at this. One of the things you're going to keep track of is the background of this. What are you looking at here that you can't really tell, but can you see that it's a tintype? One thing, it's got its corners cut off. Why did they cut off the corners? Because
So
the
you don't
corners
cut
told
yourself.
everything, tore
So you
everything.
don't cut yourself.
They don't cut yourself, so they cut the corners off of the tintype so that they would be safer to use. This is a perfect example. Okay, next. This one is a little girl and she's in the same time period as the print that you can see on your handout there. How can you tell she's a young girl?
Short.
You can see her feet.
You can see
Oh,
her
okay.
feet. Remember what Grandma told me? Nice girls never showed their feet.
Oh, yeah.
And they didn't show their feet, no matter how dusty and dirty the road was. Okay, go back, honey. What else too far.
I'm having a time.
What else we have here is a classic backdrop. This one is these are all at random, so you're supposed to guess. I didn't want to have them 1860, 1870,
Okay.
which I should have, but
No, that's good.
no, it shouldn't have been. Okay, look at this. You can see there's a big difference between this. Next, this is an earlier one, and you can see this is really about Civil War time, partly because of the balustrade here. We know that there's a carpet on the floor, and it probably runs right here to where the